And we welcome you into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort with our college basketball writer, Mike DeCourcy. Mike, I cannot believe it. College basketball is almost here.
We start practicing fairly soon. A little bit of showbiz on the way to practice Friday with the Midnight Madness celebrations.
You got to have your showbiz. You got to have your showbiz.
The showbiz is fine, and it provides a little bit of a intro to college basketball, but I prefer real basketball.
There are going to be a number of changes this year. Teams changing conferences, coaches in new places, new freshmen coming in, and obviously players that will have a chance to shine that maybe haven't had that chance before. Starting with teams changing conferences, what do you think is the most compelling story there?
Probably the most compelling story in regards to changing conferences, Missouri going to the SEC. I know Texas A&M's going as well, but Missouri's the real factor there because Missouri has a chance to win the league. Missouri did not win a lot of Big 12 titles, and the specter of Kentucky is going to make it hard as well to not translate that lack of conference success over to the SEC, but there's a chance. I mean, they have great talent. They have established players. The difference between Missouri and Kentucky is they both have a lot of new guys, but all of Kentucky's are kids, and some of Missouri's are men.
Well, that always helps to have men. Now, another interesting story in that vein, Butler and VCU to the A-10. That intrigues me. Those two teams have had a lot of success in the tournament.
Right, and they've had great success in their leagues as well, especially Butler in the Horizon League. It's a lot different in the Atlantic 10 than it is in the Horizon League, and they'll find that over time. And I was not very happy with Butler's decision to move into the Atlantic 10 because I think ultimately they're either going to have to change who they are as a program or they're going to find themselves retreating a little bit. When you get a double look at teams in your league, you play them twice, maybe even a third time in a conference tournament, changes who you are.
Let's talk about some coaches changing places. New coaches at South Carolina, Illinois, a lot of places. Which is the most compelling of those, do you think?
I think over time it'll be Illinois because Illinois has a program with great potential to be a championship top 5, top 10, top 15 level program. Has not always lived up to that. Certainly it was in the process of doing that under Bill Self and would have reached great heights if Bill had stayed there. Under Bruce Weber, I don't think Bruce ever really connected with the job. Bruce is an excellent basketball coach, but I don't think he ever really was either completely content with being who he was at Illinois or being who Illinois needed him to be.
Right.
He recruited a lot of guys that didn't really fit his system, that sort of were to placate who people thought he should be recruiting or who he could get. And it never quite meshed in the way that it could have or should have. Illinois, John Gross, he'll make that happen. He'll get those guys and they'll work with him. If Brandon Paul, DJ Richardson, those guys are going to succeed under him. It may be a little harder this year because they don't have great size. If Myers Leonard stuck around, I think Illinois would be a top 15 team. With no Myers Leonard, be a little harder, especially with the Big Ten being a great league this year.
Let's talk about freshmen. Freshmen obviously now become a huge story in college basketball. Who are the 2 or 3 most impactful freshmen?
Well, I think the 2 or 3 most impactful freshmen still have not been cleared to play. Shabazz Muhammad at UCLA, whose eligibility is under investigation relative to amateurism, and Nerlens Noel at Kentucky, whose eligibility is under question for reasons that haven't really been completely made known to us. And I think that Kentucky is very confident that that will be cleared up because there doesn't appear to be anything really concrete there.
And who are some guys maybe that are going to get an opportunity this year and you think are going to shine?
The number 1 guy is Elijah Johnson at Kansas. And he has a big opportunity to be a star player, and Kansas needs it. Kansas needs him to be a great player. He was a top 30, top 40 recruit. He played very successfully with the Big 12 championship level team last year, a Final Four national championship game team. He was a very successful player, but now the focus is really going to be on him, and he's going to have to move positions. He was a shooting guard last year playing alongside Tyshawn Taylor. He did take over the point a lot of times when Tyshawn was out, but now he's a full-time point guard. And so how does he handle that? How successful is he? I think that Kansas' track record says he'll be great. And then Jarnell Stokes at Tennessee, who, very unusual situation, graduated high school early after he was ruled ineligible to play as a senior in high school. Enrolled at Tennessee, so he got into a game without basically having much more than 1 or 2 practices, and he played great. And he played really well all through the rest of the year. If you can do that with almost no practice, what can you do when you've had conditioning, You've had a full summer of practice. You've had a full fall of practice. What can you do then? I think Jarnell Stokes is going to be a star.
Well, we will see what happens. That's Mike DeCourcy. I'm Tom Van Voort. Once the showbiz is over with, the balls will start bouncing, and we'll be back to cover it.